Hello friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today's card is a cutie one using the Peekaboo forest with the sweet little critters there. I'm going to show you how I did my sponging and this forest, what would we call that? The canopy, the tree up there, the forest of the tree. Well, a bunch of trees is a forest, the canopy of the tree, and the paper I used. So here we're going to be taking a look at that Peekaboo forest. Now this comes with the dies that cut out the tree with the hole in the trunk and the 3 critters and a woodpecker, some leaves, grass, and the bottom of the canopy of the tree, and an additional stamp that can make this longer and taller. But we're actually going to use some DSP on that. And so we have all the dies that cut that out. So what we're going to do first is to just dissect this card. Anytime you see a card and you go, wow, no matter how complex a card is, if you just break it down into small steps, you could make any card that you see on Pinterest or anywhere. So this one here, I made some clouds in the back, and I'm just going to use my craft mat there. And I'm using these basic border dies that had that cloud line there. Now these are retired, but any type of a cloud line, if you don't have something with the clouds, you could just take a whole bunch of circles and just layer the different sizes and make yourself a template. So we're gonna use that. I'm gonna put that on my mat, and I'm just going to layer on some clouds because that's a nice background for the card. And to do that, I'm just going to use some, I picked up Pool Party. I want Balmy Blue. Balmy Blue. Haha. It just looked a little different to me. So I'm going to use some Balmy Blue. I'm just going to pick up some ink here from my ink pad on this brush here. And I'm just going to get some light. Now this is definitely going to shake here a little bit. And you see how you get a cloud line there, and just kind of move it a little bit. And just get some background on there. It looks like you're getting nothing when you're putting sponging on a lot of times, but I do want this to be see how it looks like I'm not doing anything whenever I'm making it, but I actually am. Okay. You're just paying attention to getting the ink right at the edge of the paper. See, it looks like nothing's going on there. And then look when you pull it up. Isn't that cool? Now the canopy's gonna go there, but I think I might do one more layer. And I really wish I would have taken the time to show you how you could make one of these. Just think of a whole bunch of different circles and sizes of circles that you would just tape together to make your template. So there we go. And I think this was technically my blue brush. This is a generic one, not a Stampin' Up one, but it looks like it has a little bit of another color coming through on it. So there we go. We have that background for the front of the card. So we're gonna pop that craft mat away. That's a great piece of equipment to have to do to keep things from sticking, and also to be able to wipe off real quick. So that is going to be going on the front of our card, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and put it on there. I think this is about ready to go. Okay. Just going to put that on the front of the card so I don't end up losing it on my desk. And this is panel that's on the front is 4 by 5 1/4. That's your standard going in 1/8 of an inch on all 4 sides. My cardstock was 11 inches by 4 1/4, and I scored it at 5 1/2. But notice on this card, sometimes when I cut cards for class, my girls will get a little confused because they'll say, wait, my card doesn't open like yours, but it's still the same card. These are both portrait, and this is landscape. This is portrait, but you can make a portrait card opening from the top or on the side, just so you're wondering. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to be doing here is I'm going to show you the dies. Okay, there's these cute little critters, the hedgehog, the bear, and the raccoon, and we're going to color those. On this card, I had an extra bear, so I stuck another bear in there, but we're going to put a hedgehog in this one. Now, these are some of the dies that are in the set. This is the tree trunk, and I cut a 4x4. This is the woven textures, and when I saw this, I just thought, this looks like bark to me. And then later on, this stamp site came out with the dies, and I'm like, I finally get to use it and make bark. But there is an amazing stamp in here that looks really good with all the rings on the, it looks so pretty. You've probably seen cards on Pinterest already with it. But I'm going to die cut that and the limb that's coming off here. Okay, so I already did that. Look at this, the magic of video. Okay, so I'll show you how I did that. And those are pieces. This piece pops out here, but I do want to go back and make this exact. There is a circle that's in here, but it doesn't necessarily match that one. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I cut this. You'll see that it actually stops right at, let me get this tape off, right here. So what I did is I just continued my tree up, okay, and then I just snipped down here so that I could use all of that tree. And that again was a 4x4 piece that I did. Okay, so that's going to be my tree, but I do want to die cut this one more time here to get this early espresso out here. So you take a look at that little cute little critters there, and I'm going to just die cut this, the inside of the tree trunk. Okay, it's the hole that's going to go into the tree trunk. And see, I just going to pop out, and it's that now it's going to be the exact size I want it to be to go into here, like that. Okay, so here is our background, and now you can see where I have more tree, but we need to get some grass on the bottom and some grass on the inside. So if you take that die and just put it onto a 1 1/4 inch piece, and then you're gonna have 2 pieces that fall off. I'm gonna put one on the inside and one on the outside. And I just did that by the magic of video. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is use this piece on the outside. Okay, so this was 4 inches and it fits on there. And I'm just gonna put glue right, well, actually it doesn't, yeah, I'm gonna put glue on the back of the green here. Okay. Put that at the bottom of the cloud line. Okay. Then my tree, I just want to cover up any of that. I just want to have it covered there. So, but when I go to do the tree, I'm going to be tucking my little raccoon in on the side here. So I'm not going to put any glue there. I'm just going to put some right it's like I'm doing the little shake. You can tell this one's getting to the, okay. And I'm gonna pop that. I love this paper. And I just got a big mess of glue on there. Now everything's gonna be sticking to me. And like I said, you just wanna cover up any bit of white down there, okay? So there's our tree trunk. And then this guy is going to be going in here, but I left space here, as you can see, for me to be able to stick this little bear in here like this, okay? But you see why you need to put the brown early espresso in that hole, because you see the, you know, normally a tree, you can't see through it. So that's going to go there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right at the top of this, where the circle is. Okay, and then pop that in, knowing that it's open at the bottom. Okay, and I can slip in there. Okay, And I'm also going to put my little limb here. It's going to be getting put right in here. It's like I have to push it against myself to get it card bent a little bit there. Ooh, I thought I gave myself the little bit of room there. Okay, I did. Okay. I like it to be down. Yeah, there we go. Just about there. Okay, now I'm gonna glue that down in a moment, but I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do the canopy. Now the canopy also uses this grass die here. So we're going to take a 4-inch wide by a 2-inch tall, and I'm gonna bring the canopy the whole way down to the bottom, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and just tape that on there. And then these little dies here, as you can see, they're leaves, and I'm gonna run them through a couple times because you can see here the scattered leaves there, but I'm gonna take a second to do that while you look at that picture. I thought this was the most adorable little set. We did have one a little while back that had some animals peering over like a little stone wall, but I don't think they had dies with them, if I'm correct. And I didn't get it, and I wish I had, because it was really cute. So I was glad when this one came out, and now I'll show you how I did that. Okay, so you can see here, I just laid the leaves down, and this one I did a little bit off just to give some more dimension, and this is the part that popped off the bottom. Now, you'll notice though, my canopy has a little bit of a curve on it. So what I did to get that, so many dies laying around here, I guess I should put them all in the same place. Okay, so what I did there is I kind of looked at where I thought it was too plain to put it. I don't know. You know what? I don't think I'm going to do it on this one. I think I'm going to just leave it straight like that. This one, I curved it a little to make it look like a bushy tree, but I think it looks okay straight across. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. So we're going to put a little bit of glue underneath our branch here. I'm just bending it over. Okay, and okay, and now we can put that canopy on. And the way I put the canopy on is I put it on with dimensionals because it just looks really neat in person to have those. Have it popped up. You really can see in person. It's really cool. So I'm just sticking dimensionals on there and popping that. Okay. And then just line up your corners so you don't see any white on the top or the sides. And you now have your tree. Look at that. Love that paper. And then we're going to show our little guys popping out there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pull down my craft mat so that I don't get any bleeding of my blends on my craft desk here. Okay, so you'll notice on these dies here, they pop this way. See how the white shows through the paw? So I kind of bent it a little bit so that I could see where that is when I'm coloring, because I don't want to have the ink on, I don't want the ink to get into that little white area that shows on the paw. You can see here, it gives a nice crisp look when you have white the whole way around. So it's a little tricky as far as that goes. So for the bear, I used dark pecan and light pecan. And so I did the little bear's, let me see if I have a good brush tip here. I did the little bear's snout in light. Okay, and then I did dark for his body, his face, his head. And just light little touches with my blend. And then I usually will turn it so that I'm got a better angle when I'm coloring. I'll see how you just keep a little bit of white right at the paw, but I actually think I missed it on here. Okay. I do love that the blends are pretty forgiving. I'm not the best blender. I try to fake it till I make it, but they really do blend nicely. And I hate to do it the second time over because then it gets darker. Okay, so there's our little bear, and that little guy is going to go into the tree here. I'm going to put, you'll notice that little opening I left there to get in there. Okay, I'm going to get my poker so I know that I did not put any glue here where the DSP is. Everything's so fumbly whenever you go to do something. Fiddly, should we say. Okay, let's get in that DSP there. Maybe I should have glued down the whole brown. I think I'm going to, because it's getting me exasperated. So let's just glue. I couldn't remember when I made this the other day if I now, let's get underneath that DSP is where the little guy goes. This was so easy the other day here. I know I didn't glue it down. Okay, I'm showing you how to do this, and it's just not working for me. Whoo, hoo, hoo. Cindy's sweating bullets here. Okay, so I got my DSP is not glued down. I know I did not put glue there. Okay, there we go. This is just what always happens when you're making a video. And the little guy just slides in there is easy peasy. Right. Believe me, it was easy the first time. It's just whenever I put a dimensional behind him, it's whenever you're doing something on video. It's like whatever can go wrong will go wrong. And then I did dark little paws on him. There's our little bear, isn't he cute? Okay, so the little raccoon is going to peek around the corner here. And the raccoon is easy to do with light smoky slate and dark smoky slate. So his eyes, I know this smoky slate had dark eyes. There we go. And then his little patch between his eyes is dark. And then I put some dark on his ears. And then the rest of his body is going to be light. And once again, I want right where it bends, see that white that's on the inside there? Not how bad my nails need done. I'm just doing light. And on his ears, above his eyes, around his nose, all light. Little paws, little paw over here, and I have to use my blunt end because my brush tip, and he's going to be tucked in there so we can just fill in his body. Okay, there we go, our little guy. And he gets tucked in on the side of the tree, which I know there is no glue there. That was a lot easier, huh? So there we go. We want both of his little paws to stick out. So I'm gonna push him down a little, like on the side. Like he's peeking around the corner there. And to hold him down, to stick a dimensional under him as well, because then he's 3D. Little dimensional under him. Okay. And then on the inside, I'm taking that other, which would have been the other piece that fell off when we did the grass. It was here. I'm going to turn it this way because it still looks like grass to me. And we're going to put that on the bottom of the inside of the card. Okay. And that, whoop, you need to see it, huh? Put a little bit of glue down here on the card. Shake, shake, shake. Okay. And then I'm going to put that there on the bottom, the grass. And then this little hedgehog. Now, I did a little research and looked at a few photos, and I think we're going to make him crumb cake. Light crumb cake. Light crumb cake for his mouth. And then dark crumb cake for his body. And just keep that little piece of white there. And then finish covering his ear here, around his little cheeks, his forehead there. I do not profess to be the best colorer. As I said before, I'm going to see if my, ooh, that side does that blend. I do like these on my brush, but I thought the brush tip was a little bit raggedy, but it's working out. Okay, so I decided to do for the, I was going to do some light smoky slate for his, wait, is this a hedgehog or a porcupine? I don't know. It could be a porcupine, right? Could be a hedgehog. I'm just putting some gray here. There we go. And he's going to slip right into the inside, oh, the grass here. He's just going to slide right into the grass, but he's not going to be popped up. He's just going to slip right under, right into the grass. Just going to be popped up right there. Oop, moved him too much. And I see a little bit of, where's the light? Smoky slate. See a little bit of white showing through here. And I see a little bit of His cheek needs darkened here. And his ear. Around his head. Around this cheek. Okay, so cute little hedgehog there. I don't know, maybe we should put a little bit of color on those little spiny things. Okay, there we go, makes him cute. Okay, and I'm gonna use that Spring Corners stamp set that has a really cool dies that go with it, but it does the stamping in the corner. And I'm gonna put in wishing you an amazing day, because I think that's just a great sentiment. And this card doesn't have a lot of room for a sentiment on the front, so I'm just going to ink up this one. Make sure I've got a lot of good ink on there. I just put that right here in the corner. Hold it in place there. Pray to Stamping Jesus that it turns out. And then thank you, Jesus. Okay. Gotta love it. He cares about every single thing that we do. And I'm so thankful for that. So now we're gonna pop that on the inside of our card. And you know what is crazy is I have so much glue on my desk here. I'm just gonna put some glue in here. Normally I don't do this, but I don't want to turn over my paper and get some kind of something on there. So I just stuck it on there. And then you just look, I like to guide the bottom and then my left and right. And then if it's off a little on the top, which actually it went perfect here, it's okay. So there you've used all the critters on that card. And I do like that. I do like having the canopy just go straight across. I thought it had to be bushy, but it could be either way. So there you go. Look how easy that was. I just did that background with my sponging, and then I used the Woven Textures DSP that really gave the texture to the card for that tree, and then colored in my little critters, popped them in. Neat little sentiment there. This could be any type of card because you just said wishing you an amazing day, happy birthday, thank you so much, thinking of you. There you go. I hope you enjoy this. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.